Welcome to Heart Home Community's most recent Baldwinsville Community Update. I'm your host, Shelley Hoffman. We hope you enjoy the show and find it very informative. Hey everybody, it's Shelley Hoffman and I'm here with our weekly update with the mayor of Baldwinsville. How you doing today?
Doing pretty good. Weather's nice. Everything's going pretty smooth. Things are starting to look a little better on the horizon. So how have you been?
I've been pretty good. I cannot be in a bad mood when the sun is shining. I was even doing yard work the other day because you had me so excited about brush pickup that I put all my sticks in.
Now think about this. When you were in high school, all your friends, now you can say to them, you remember me in high school, how I was party hardy? You know what my excitement is now? Getting my brush ready for brush pickup because that's the biggest event in the village.
Oh, it gets better, Mayor, because I went for a walk that morning. I can't even think of what morning it was now, just maybe yesterday. And I was walking down and I saw the guys coming up Oswego Street. And when I left, I had sticks and I had bags of leaves and stuff in my front yard. And I watched those guys go up and I knew what they were doing. And by the time I circled around down Downer Street and back over, my brush was gone. It was
Magic.
gone.
Just disappeared. Well,
Don't worry, I'll find
really
more.
We're really happy that we can make you happy.
Thank you.
And it is amazing. I've been on the board now since like 2009, so it's been a while, and that seems to stir up people. Short of a blizzard, where we're going to get stuck in our driveways, type of thing. Brush seems to be the big thing. You know, we get more calls on that than what concerts are going on the island. Are you picking up this week, or is it next week? Or, people get, and I understand they don't want that brush sitting out there for 2 or 3 weeks, and we don't want it sitting out there for 2 or 3 weeks either. So they went by here the other day, and one of the fellows down the street puts everything in a bag. He had like 8 bags out in the road. He actually puts them a couple feet into the road because he knows they're coming. So all they got to do is scoop in and pick it up. And, people really adjust their calendars to brush pickup. And I think, when we talk about what is provided by the village when you pay your taxes, that's usually the first thing I cite. And then right away you go, oh, yeah, okay, brush pickup. If you say the police department, or if you say the water or something, they kind of, they expect that. But the brush pickup is special. So I'm sure it makes the guys up at the DPW now 1 ounce happier. But they have to realize that people appreciate that when they go to work in the morning, there's brush, and when they come home, it's gone. Like you said, you're out walking, it's gone. And now you start all over again for the next brush pickup. But at least for a couple days, your yard looks good. I mean, I've been out with all these high winds. We don't have a maple tree in our yard, but we have a lot of maple tree branches end up in our yard. And we've had 3 or 4 real big windstorms. Yeah. And so I go out and back, and the lady next door, I go out and pick up her backyard. And we had a nice pile of branches out there, small ones, and a few leaves that were left over along the property line and stuff. So we had enough to make it worth picking up yesterday and or Monday, whenever they came, Monday, I guess. And so the village looks better. But speaking of brush pickup, reminding people not to put it in the road. Yeah. And our code officer reminded me of a couple other things. We do not have mattress pickup. That is not on our schedule. So do not put your mattresses out at the street. Let me see where my notes are from Greg. Yes, the village and trash haulers, neither one will pick up furniture from the curb as part of their normal pickup. If you want to have furniture picked up, you call your trash hauler and say, I've got a couch and I've got this. They'll say, we can be out there like Thursday. Somebody will come, and it's not a garbage truck. It's usually like a U-Haul type thing, or a different kind of truck, and a couple guys come and throw the stuff on. So don't put your furniture out at the curb and leave it there for 2 weeks expecting somebody miraculously is going to pick it up. Now, I understand in our neighborhood, and I'm sure others, people put out like a piece of porch furniture, a Sirocco chair or something that they don't have any use for. They sit it at the curb and in 10 minutes it's gone. Somebody drives by and sees it and says, well, they must be getting rid of this, and takes it. But you can't do that with like a 35-year-old couch and stick it out at the curb and expect that there's going to be a flood of people wanting to pick that up. And so you can't do that.
It's funny you're saying that, because I have this stove that's been in my garage that somebody's supposed to come and pick up and take, and they haven't done it since December. And this morning I was like, if I have that stove in my garage 2 more weeks, I'm pushing it down to the end of the road and see if someone takes it.
Be careful, because the code officer may be citing you. And Greg points out that sidewalks have started going in over on Mildred Ave. It's about 2/3 of the street has a sidewalk. It has a sidewalk on the north side, but the south side of the street, it goes about 2/3 of the way and stops. So we're now finishing that, so to go all the way to Canton Street. And then we'll be going to right there by McGuire Chevrolet. The town had put in sidewalks right to the village line a few years ago. We're going to continue that sidewalk to connect it. There's a lot of people catch the bus right there. So we would like to put a sidewalk, and it makes it easier in the wintertime to clear it with a sidewalk rather than dirt. And it's something we should have done quicker, but there is an issue. They started to do yesterday there, and then there's a gas line right there, and they've got to find out for sure where it is before they start digging. So they started on Mildred instead. And it's one of those things that I think people look at sometimes, and is it necessary? It's not 100% necessary, but it's important. There's a lot of people who walk, particularly during the pandemic. People walk more than ever, and to have a sidewalk that goes all the way to the end of the street is much. Now they don't have to cross over to get sidewalk on the other side of the street. And we're getting to the point where we can almost start to see the end of the where the finish line is, where we all have replaced all the bad sidewalk and put in sidewalk where there isn't sidewalk. Our big one in the future is from Curtis Ave up to Aspen Springs, because there's a lot of people come out of that development and then have to walk into the village, or at least we'd like them to. Yeah. And right now the option is basically walking in the street on Route 31, which is not anything that we're happy about. So we're working to try to make that one of our next projects. So that's pretty much the code stuff. The clerk reminds everybody that we are accepting reservations for Community Park Pavilion and the Pavilion and Gazebo at Mercer Park. The people can reserve them. At this point, we're not 100% sure how we're going to do with opening the restrooms. It looks like, in talking to the county, that it's a little more flexible. Maybe we can do them in the morning when we open them, and maybe do them again like between 12 and 2, and that'd be good for the day, because the CDC is saying that surface contact is not as likely to cause people to get sick, and so there's less concern over that. We're still trying to get that finalized, and I'd love to have somebody send me that in a note, so I have a note that says that for the future. But we are renting those facilities, and there will be we'll ask people to social distance and that type of stuff when they use the facilities, but they'll find that out when they sign up. I did watch Chief Leffencheck. It was interesting, the cannabis stuff. I do feel bad that he continually has to ask people to lock their doors of their cars. I don't know how we can publicize it anymore. I mean, he talks about it once a month. I mentioned it 3 out of 4 times in a month. And the fact that he has to keep mentioning it, people are not paying attention. Lock your cars. Simple. I know I grew up in a time in Baldwinsville where we didn't lock our houses. Yeah. That's not the case anymore. No. Life has changed. We're not in Mayberry anymore, Andy. So lock them up. And I was interested to hear his discussion about Memorial Day parades and stuff, how it's be very unlikely that we could do anything normal, but hey, crazier things have happened.
Yes.
But I would warn people to be expecting not to see a parade this year. I heard Mary Frances this morning talking about the fire risks right now. We have not had rain in a while. We were supposed to get rain overnight, and I don't think we did. So our local areas are very dry, especially, the grasses that were tall last year that are now brown and very crispy. They'll burn quickly if a fire starts. It is fire burning season, as far as we don't get the same fires they get in California, but we do get brush fires that get scary. They get close to houses and barns. So no, don't have any fires. I mean, it's easy.
Is there a ban right now in the village like there is in Van
Yeah,
Buren?
I believe there is. I think we may have a ban, permanent type ban. You can have the fire pits, but you can't burn garbage and that kind of stuff anywhere. When I was a kid, people used to have 50-gallon drums in the backyard and take their papers out and dump them and burn them in there. And I believe we have a permanent ban on burning in the village just because of how close the houses are and stuff. And the other concern right now for some people is pollen. It's so dry and all leaves are starting to emerge and flowers. I mean, our hyacinths are coming, tulips are starting to really sprout up. And with that comes pollen. And because it's so dry, there's nothing to knock the pollen down. So people might notice, like I have every morning, my eyes water for 2 or 3 hours. So that's all because of how dry it is right now, on top of the other stuff. One area that we're interested in whether or not we can proceed is the visitor center over by where the boats dock.
Yep.
That's a very handy thing for visitors from out of town. We have talked about the idea if somebody could open that up, but just not let people in the building or on the porch, like put a tape across each end so people would have to stand off the porch and say, do you have maps? Do you have restaurants? And our person could go inside. These are all volunteers, and they do a terrific job. They're the first face that boating visitors see in the Village of Baldwinsville. And usually, I've never heard a negative. So I say usually, it's always. When I talk to boaters, they'll say the people over there are wonderful. They're so helpful because you say, I'm looking for a place to eat. Well, what kind of place are you looking for? Maybe I can help you. And I love to eat at that place. And so it's like you've met a new old friend. And so we'll be working on that. Same, the restroom is the concern with the parks. People have already been asking if we're going to open them, and we're very seriously looking at it. We are hoping that at some time, and I don't know how soon it could happen, but we might replace all the faucets and the flushes on toilets and stuff with the automated ones, that you put your hand out and it turns the water on. There'd be no faucets to turn, which automatically would eliminate about 90% of the contact places. Now you just have to figure out how to keep the door clean, the door handle. But we are working on it. We have talked with the county. I have had conversations with 2 or 3 different people from Parks and Rec, and I'm looking for somebody from the county executive's office to give us a little more guidance on like farmers market. I did talk to a fellow yesterday who does the food truck, the one that does the fire pizza, and he would like to run it and have a speech at the end. And he's got the list of all the vendors that the Samurais used in the past, and they have told him they will help him. So I asked him if he would put a plan together that I could let the board see, how he plans on taking care of things. And we would probably put a porta potty there, and he'd have to make sure that it's being cleaned during the farmers market. But they have a farmers market down at the regional market all winter long, from what I'm told.
Yeah, they do.
So we should be able to come up with some rules, 6 feet between vendors and maybe one-way traffic in front of vendors so that you're not walking into somebody face to face. People have to wear masks while they're up talking to the vendors and that type of stuff. So, we're getting closer to that. Hopefully get some good guidance on that very quickly. We are meeting tomorrow. I say Mark Wilder and I are meeting with the Little League people. They're opening up this weekend, and they're looking for a little guidance. They have restrooms over there. The bad part is I just found out yesterday that they're opening up Saturday, which means our DPW hasn't had any chance to go over and check out the facilities to see if there's toilets that need replacing or water lines that might have broken during the winter that nobody knows about. So we're going to try to scramble to get some look at some of that stuff and see if there's any major work needs to be done. But it's nice to hear that the crack of the bat will soon be filling the air over off of Downer Street. And, it's like everything else. We have to find out for sure what the gathering numbers are, but they don't get huge crowds. It's usually a couple parents per kid and that type of thing. So we'll hope that works well for them. I'm reminded because I wrote a note down that April 10th is the chowder cookoff.
Yes.
So people who think that sounds pretty cool, if you do the Margarita Fest, this is kind of the same thing. You get a card, you go to all the different places, and then at the end, the last one you go to, you rate the top three, pick them 1, 2, 3, drop it in the bucket or whatever they have, and eventually somebody gets declared champion of the chili cook-off. Yes. In the meantime, you've been walking around the village, you run into some old friends, you're out having a good time, and that's what it's all about. And so if you have
I'm sacrificing for the community, and I will be attending that. Just so I can report back to you.
I appreciate the sacrifice. So it's a nice thing because, first of all, if you like chowder, you can test all kinds of different chowders because everybody does it a little differently. And you're helping the businesses, and you're getting out of the house. Hopefully the weather will be a day like today, or tomorrow's supposed to be in the 70s. So hopefully it'll be nice weather, and you'll make a lot of nice people who run the businesses smile to see all the happy faces coming by. So that's April 10th. If you go on Facebook and if you look on it, I don't know if there's a separate thing for the cook-off, but if you go on Angry Garlic or Sal's or any of those places, I'm sure they have a link and give you the times and all that stuff. So
it's it's 1 to 5, I believe, and then you have to get the ticket. I believe the little passes that you mentioned will be sold in front of the Angry Garlic. The Greater Baldwinsville Chamber of Commerce will have a table there, and they'll be selling those for $5.
Good. Well,
so maybe you could meet Lauren. I don't know if Lauren's going to be there or not, the new director, but if you haven't met Lauren yet, I haven't confirmed with her, but she might be one of the people sitting there on Saturday.
Very good. Lauren was the one who sent me the inquiry about the visitor center because the chamber sets up the volunteers, and so everybody wants to know, should they, are you going to need volunteers, or what, what's the deal? And if it opens up usually Memorial Day weekend, so they like to have a little bit of time to get people lined up, and we like to get over there and open it up and clean it, get it cleaned out and ready for the season. I know we have ordered porta potties. So we've ordered dumpsters for the Little League. That's a strange setup, and that we're responsible for that, even though it's not in the village.
I was wondering that because me and my village lines, I get them great sometimes.
That was a request of the Reeves family years ago. That was farmland. And Cecil Reeves, who was a longtime member of the school board when I was a kid and stuff, approached the village about he would like the village to run it. As far as the physical, we don't run the Little League. We were just responsible for the parking lot and the restroom and that type of stuff.
Okay.
So it's an interesting, it's like it's not ours, but it is ours. We really don't own it, but we're kind of the temporary landlord of the property, and the Little League people are terrific to work with. Over the years, they've been great. It's a great program. A lot of what you see up at the high school when these kids are playing for championships and scholarships and stuff, most of them came through the Little League program. And so it's a great program. If you drive by there when the games are going, and there's cars all through that parking lot's full, and you see people on 3 different fields at a time, and it's pretty cool. And it's fun to go over there once in a while when there's games going on and just stand behind the backstop and watch the kids play, and particularly the little ones who are really just learning. And you see some fun stuff, and it takes you back. It takes me back to when I was a kid and how I lived for my Little League games. And just off that subject a little bit, when I was playing Little League, I tried to tell people, the kids today, they have T-shirts and hats, or that some of them have full uniforms depending on what level the league is and stuff. We had nothing. I mean, I showed up with a pair of jeans and my own T-shirt and whatever hat I might have in the closet. And every kid on the team had a different color shirt on. And you know what? We loved it just as much. We got just as excited. And we thought we had, like some of the kids would take a pen and draw pinstripes so they could be like the Yankees. And, but where I lived up in the university, there was no fields right there. We had to go all the way up to what is now Berry Park, up on the other side of the university. Then it was Broad Street Park. And my buddy next door, his mom got us signed up for the Little League, and we'd go up there and play. And it was terrific. I have great memories playing center field with a first baseman's glove, because that was the only glove you're 7, 8 years old, 9 years old. Nobody's going to buy you a $200 glove and find out in 2 weeks you're not interested in playing baseball anymore. So I just had a glove, and I can just remember, like, the only ball that ever got hit to me, I caught it, but it was like a line drive, and I came in, and all of a sudden I went, reached up and just
look what I found.
Because it would have gone way out. It would have been a home run, because by the time I would have turned around. So I came in like, it was what I expected to do, was catch it. So Little League fields have a lot of what authors would refer to like as romance. I mean, the sound of the bat, the cheering, the kids out. We were always told to talk when you're out in the fields. Hey, hey, batter, hey, baby, come on, pitch, throw that pitch. So you would just talk. And of course, I was better than anybody.
I was going to say, you probably didn't say a word out there, Mayor.
No. So I love going over to the Little League fields and just, sometimes I stop for 10, 15 minutes and just go from one field over to the other, see who's playing. And then I head out, but it's kind of cool. A lot of activity at the senior center. We're very close to getting back in the building. I think Ruth and I have had a couple discussions this week, and we've kind of come to the agreement that the outside activities that we had started back in the summer, they can go back outside with good weather, and let's get them going instead of the Zoom. And we're very close to getting them back in the building. The same ones that we let in the fall. You got your Tai Chi, your book club, the art group, bingo. Those would come back in the building.
Do you feel that, because some things have changed permanently, or at least have been adapted, do you think that Canton Woods would keep some things via Zoom so the seniors that can't come to the center would still be able to participate in stuff, or are they getting rid of everything that's Zoom once they can?
It's hard to do Zoom and live together, because somebody has to stand there with with a laptop and turn the camera around so that whoever's talking can be seen by people at home.
So look at separate times. So if you have like a live one at this time and a Zoom one at this time, because the people that can't get out at all, maybe they were able to participate in some things that they weren't able to because they didn't have to leave their home. So just food for thought. I wasn't sure if you and Ruth had talked about that at all.
No, but it's certainly worth mentioning that she's always looking for anything to be innovative. I got her list here of things that are going on, and it's over a page of stuff.
She keeps it active.
Yeah, they're still signing people up for the vaccine. If you just, I signed up. My first shot is Friday, and when I signed up, I got bumped off one time because it took me more than 15 minutes because I had a question on the insurance, and so of course it bumped me off. Then I had a different date for the shot. Then I had 5 minutes for 15 minutes before. It was a completely different date. So they will arrange to get you listed on an appointment thing, and then somebody will call you for an appointment. And they also have the, in-house. If you can't get out of your house to get a shot, they'll get you the shot. If you call the senior center at 638-4536, they'll hook you up with the right agency to get you a shot at home. There also is a Zoom session for it's a Medicaid overview from the Office for Aging. That's April 15th, 6 to 7 at night. And you call 435-2362 to register. So if you have questions about Medicaid and you can't get into an office to talk to somebody, now you can do it via Zoom, which is nice. The center is offering a drive-up, walk-up, takeaway lunch through the Onondaga County Senior Nutrition Program and Peace every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. You have to call the center, usually at least a day in advance. So if you want lunch on Monday, you'd have to call on Friday to make a reservation. And then you swing up and they put your lunch in the front seat and you go home and eat. Just like the nutrition lunches that they had in the building, now you can come and get them and take them home. Food Sense is still operating. Monday the 19th is the deadline for the next Food Sense. Call the senior center. The mammography van from Upstate Hospital will be at Canton Woods on May 11th. Make appointments at 464-2582. And again, if you have questions before you call them, check with the senior center. I'm sure there's probably some things that they can help you with. There is a spring walking group now from the senior center. Starts on Monday, the 12th of April at 9:30. Meet in the parking lot at the center. Wear a mask. Keep distance. Bring your own water. Dress appropriately for the weather. And then usually somebody from the Canton Woods staff is walking, and they'll take you up into McCary Town and back. It's usually about a mile. So it's a chance to get some exercise, but also to see some friends.
Okay.
The bingo Zoom is Tuesday the 13th, 2 o'clock. Call Ruth Troy to get registered. The 15th of April is the craft giveaway day. Because there was no activity in the center, people were constantly donating craft items over the course of the year, but they didn't get used. So they have a lot of items. Call the senior center and make an appointment ahead of time, because they don't want a lot of people at the same time. So when you call, they'll tell you what kind of stuff is available. Okay. All kinds of little knickknacks, beads and threads and all kinds of stuff. Book club is April 27th. The book is Code Girls by Lisa Monday. April 27th, 2 o'clock via Zoom. And maybe by that time, they'll be talking about doing it out in the pavilion. And then Memory Lane, we've been doing on Mondays at 4 o'clock. We may go to a once a month schedule as the weather's getting nice. 4 o'clock in the afternoon is not a great time, Yeah. So people may want to be doing some things outside. Just as a kind of a catch up, they had their senior fair in a bag drive-up event, over 100 bags of items from medical insurance, that type of stuff. They had over 100 bags and ran out.
Wow.
The St. Patrick's Day dinner, they served 140 people and could have done tons more. The reservations filled up quickly on that one. That was a Rotary event. And one thing that Greg Humphrey had mentioned to me is in the State of the County address by Ryan McMahon, kind of hinted that there might be some more Main Street type grants available. Last one we did, we had 7 businesses sign up, and as soon as they got announced, we had 2 or 3 businesses come to us and say, we didn't even know about it. Well, when we first got notice that this was happening, we had only about 10 days to 2 weeks to get the notice out. And so we put it on Facebook, we put it on our website. Apparently a couple business owners did not see it. And so we're hoping that we can get more of them involved on a second round. So we should know something pretty soon. We're working with community development to find out if they know if there'll be more money available and if we'll be eligible, because we already got some.
Yeah.
So we still have some work to do to finish up the first one because of the COVID. Hopefully people will see some work going on around the village. There's a couple of the businesses, and then we're going to be doing the strip from the four corners down to the library, some new sidewalk, new lights, new benches. Hopefully that'll be a real nice spot for people to just, walk, not only walk, but find a place to plop down and watch the traffic go by on a nice day and maybe run into some old friends. And so we're working on those kind of things. The trails are getting cleaned up. The parks are getting cleaned up. Hopefully they're ready to go. Chuck McAuliffe said that the street sweeper was going to be out maybe now. I mean, it takes a while to do the whole village. Get that leftover salt and stuff from the winter cleaned up. So we're hopping. Don't forget, if you want flowers for the hanging flowers, $50. You got to call the garden club, and it's got to be reservations in by April 15th. So, you got any questions for me?
No, I mean, I will say Earth Day cleanup's coming up. I know the Rotary's gonna be working in a couple places. Bob Wicks had mentioned where the Budweiser trucks come in over there in the town of Lysander. Not so much the Budweiser trucks, but the other ones. They think, that stuff might be getting thrown out windows. So just to mention anybody, it doesn't have to be Earth Day, but definitely if you see an area of the village, I think it's beautiful. But obviously there's always, like in my parking lot behind my building, sometimes there's some Dunkin' Donut cups or a beer can or, napkins, whatever. But it doesn't have to be Earth Day. But if you're into, Earth Day cleanup, there are organizations that are putting stuff together. So Baldwinsville Rotary definitely is one of the groups. Ted Croucher's organizing that one.
Okay. But, and people should feel free when they're out walking along any of the trails or anything to take a plastic grocery bag or a garbage bag, have it folded up. And if you see some stuff on the side of the trail, throw it in. And we have trash baskets in all the parks. Yeah. And dump them and get rid of the stuff. And so, it doesn't have to be your trash necessarily. And I don't want anybody to feel like they have to clean up after other people. But it's not necessarily as much that as making it nicer for people who maybe have never walked our trails. And the first time they go through and say, wow, this is really nice and clean. And you can help us with that image to keep it cleaned up. So, other than that, I know that all of our village offices are hopping. The court opens up the 14th for the first time since like Thanksgiving. I'm sure they're excited and nervous because people will be coming in the building and there is protocol. Make sure you wear a mask. And you'll be checked with your temperature and all that kind of stuff. I can't think if there's much of anything else. I know the parking ban is over with in about another week. The 15th of April is the end of the on-street parking. I think we may have tried to work out something over on Mildred Ave because some of the people won't be able to get in their driveways. And Greg may have told them that it's okay to park on the street just in the strip. And we'll ask the police to please understand that's why you're there. That you typically wouldn't write a ticket like tonight because it's nice out. They might just put a warning that still April 15th is the day. Yeah. So hopefully we will not be plowing any more snow.
Oh my goodness. No, we had that scare, last week, I think last Thursday or something.
Oh yeah, it was like 8 to 12 inches. And I woke up in the morning and I put a picture on Facebook I took out of this window and there wasn't a flake of snow on the ground.
I do have a bone to pick with you, Mr. Mayor. Because I saw that post as I was sitting in my little cubby here and I was like, yeah, there's no snow. And I had chose to walk to work that day. So I blame you because, when you put it out there that there's no snow and then I open up my door and just got hit with blizzard snow that didn't lay on the ground. Yeah. And I instantly thought, this is what happens when our mayor posts how pretty it is outside. Mother Nature says, oh no.
Yeah, the funny thing was, I said we don't have any maple trees. We don't have any maple trees in the backyard where all the limbs are. We do have one of the village street maples out here, and it was just starting to bud, and the snow caught on all the buds, and it looked like cotton, like we were in a cotton field. It was the strangest looking thing because there was no snow on the ground, none on the cars, but it had hung on to these little maple buds. every day you wake up, it's another treat from me.
That is true. So,
But
well,
I'm
thank
sorry
you.
you got bombarded with a blizzard.
I did. I mean, it didn't lay on the ground, and it was only, I think it just waited for me to leave my building and walk up to the house. But I walked in, and I forget who was meeting me at the house that day, but my daughter had taken the dogs for a walk, and it was the same thing. It was beautiful one moment. A few minutes later, it was crazy. And I just thought it was because you challenged Mother Nature with your with your picture.
Greg Humphrey sent me a note saying that small fire pits in your yards are fine and unaffected by the burn ban. You can never burn leaves or trash or wood, any of that type of stuff. The burn ban basically in the towns is for like when they're clearing land and they like to burn it off, and that you can't do that until, I think Mary Frances said,
May
sometime
16th.
in May.
Yeah, May 16th.
So just a heads up for people that this is not a good time of the year to be thinking about burning some of your brush. Certainly not in the village. It's illegal. And now obviously in Van Buren, and I'm thinking Lysander must have a similar kind of a ban. So be safe. That's all I got.
All right. Well, as always, it's a lot. So thank you, sir. And I will talk with you next week. Enjoy your day.
Take care, Shelley.